Okay, more Democrats are admitting that the radical socialist mayor-elect of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, is the future of their party. But a lot of New Yorkers are dreading his rise to power in the city. Rapper and New York native 50 Cent posted on Instagram blasting Kami Mamdani's plans to tax the rich while defunding the police, following it up with this post showing a tombstone reading R.I.P. NYC. Meanwhile, there are reports Floridians are panicking and quickly buying homes over fears that New Yorkers fleeing his extreme policies will flood the market, as if they haven't already flooded the market down there. But there is some hope for New Yorkers because Mamdani's plans to implement his radical socialist pipe dream, which would inevitably destroy New York City, may have hit a major roadblock today, as Elise Stefanik announced her bid to unseat Governor Kathy Hochul, slamming the failed weak governor for bending the knee to Kami Mamdani. Here's what she told Fox and Friends earlier today.
And after this week, Ainsley, when we saw a raging anti-Semite, pro-Hamas communist who wants to raise taxes, and frankly, he barely won the majority of New York City voters, Kathy Hochul endorsed him and bent the knee. And when New Yorkers were looking for strong leadership from a governor not to bend the knee to Zohran Mamdani, Kathy Hochul bent the knee. Why did she do that? Because she is hemorrhaging support, even in her own party, among Democrats.
Here with reaction, Democratic pollster Doug Schoen and Fox News contributor Byron York. So great to see both of you. And Doug, you're here in the studio. You know, it's kind of been interesting to watch Kathy Hochul sort of navigate around Mamdani. She kind of sort of embraced him, and he kind of gave her the Heisman and was like, yeah, I don't think you know, we're not in the same party. Is this going to hurt her going forward?
You know, my prediction could be wrong, but I think she's going to continue to embrace him, the far left, AOC, and Bernie Sanders. She has a primary from her left-wing lieutenant governor. And I think, as you've said, and I think is clear, the left is coercive and they're punitive. And I think she feels to get the nomination and win re-election, she needs Mamdani, she needs the left, and she needs AOC.
Yeah, indeed. Byron, you know, I think for the entirety of your and my time covering Washington, Republican politicians have been able to run campaigns and raise money off of Nancy Pelosi. Well, now that she's left the scene, are Republicans going to be able to do the same thing with Mamdani?
Well, obviously the most powerful part of the Democratic Party now is the progressive wing, which until a couple of weeks ago was the AOC Bernie wing. Now it's the AOC Bernie Mamdani wing. So I think that Mamdani is going to be a target for every single Republican who's running anywhere near him. And, you know, one of the reasons, by the way, that he is taking this leadership role is because what you were talking about earlier in the show about Nancy Pelosi and about Chuck Schumer, about the legacy of Joe Biden and a number of other really old Democratic lawmakers, that this sense that the party had become a gerontocracy. Right. And the one thing that Mamdani does really represent is youthful energy.
Yeah. Sticking with you, Byron, real quick. Do you think that in terms of money, that Republicans will be able to, that Mamdani will be the cash cow for Republicans that Pelosi was?
Not at this point. I mean, Nancy Pelosi just really was a huge leader in Washington, leading the whole party in Washington at times, responsible for things like Obamacare, which dominated the policy landscape for a decade now. And so I don't see him playing that big a role.
So obviously, Doug, Republicans are going to do everything they can to try to make him into that Pelosi-type figure. I think partly because they think they can probably raise a lot of money, but Byron's probably right about this. But who do you think is actually running the Democrat Party today? Who's going to be the nominee?
Well, the two questions. I think the energy, as Byron said, is with the progressives, and Bernie Sanders, having seen the town hall on another network with Bernie and AOC. Bernie is running the show. He's setting the tone for Mamdani, for AOC, and I think for the party. Who will be the nominee? Hard to say. But you know what? Gavin Newsom's probably the front runner. But if AOC runs, that's a big if. I think she can raise unlimited money and she'll be credible everywhere.
And Chuck Schumer dodges a bullet if she decides to
That
run
would be
for
true.
president.
She's 20 points ahead of him, Charlie.
Yeah.
Now, and he's a dead man walking if she decides to run for the Senate.
Same question to you, Byron. If you were to, and I hate putting you on the spot, but you know, I actually love putting you on the spot. If you were to have to look forward to 2028 and had to pick a Democrat, you could pick 3 if you want. Is AOC one of them? Is she the only one?
As far as AOC is concerned, we don't really pick members of the House and elect them president. Extremely, extremely rare. I think the chances of a governor, Gavin Newsom, even Pritzker, Josh Shapiro, a number of gubernatorial candidates, I think you're going to end up with a nominee from that group.
Well, Gavin Newsom is going to have to figure out what to do with his hands because he's not nearly as hip and cool as AOC, especially when he's doing this whole weird thing. So,
I just would say with the crowds AOC can draw and the money she can raise, she may not be electable nationally, but I think she's nominatable. Remember Barack Obama.
Yeah, exactly. Byron York, Doug Schoen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.